Yes, doing it a bit earlier than we usually do a stream, because we were planning on doing something else later tonight. So I am starting by boiling a large pot of water. Very important step. So, what goes in to the pan at first, Jesse? Ground beef. Okay. And olive oil, right?
Yeah. Heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large skillet over medium-high heat. Add ground beef.
We are using ground venison, because we still have some. Let's see here. Yeah. Break that up by hand a bit, and then I'll turn on the heat after I wash my hands. And I've got the heat on our pot of water that is boiling, or coming to a boil, rather. Okay. Let's see, what else goes into a bolognese? Pound of sirloin, or ground deer, a couple of cloves of minced garlic, some dried oregano, some red pepper flakes, some red wine, 1 to 8 ounces of crushed tomatoes. We don't have tomato paste, that's okay. Some nutmeg, some basil, and then the recipe calls for heavy cream and Parmesan, but I am allergic to those things,
So we just leave them out and add some arrowroot for thickening.
Arrowroot is great stuff. Like, while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and get the garlic mincing. When does the garlic? Okay, garlic, oregano, and red pepper flakes all go in when the meat is cooked. Oh, uh-oh.
Put one of those down on the counter, put the jar on top of it. Use another one in your hand.
So, use 3 of them is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
All
There we
surfaces
go.
must add friction. Then jar
Wow.
opens. That just shows that you canned it properly.
It does show that I canned the garlic properly. Wow. If anything, I canned this garlic too. Although, there's honestly
Really
no such thing with canning items. Canning foods.
Except for when you literally cannot get them out.
May I do 3 cloves of garlic?
What's it called for?
It calls for 4 teaspoons of minced garlic.
So, 2 of those.
You know, that's good. It calls for 4 cloves of garlic. Or 4 teaspoons. This should be fine.
Now, I'm not supposed to cook this all the way through.
You're
right?
supposed to cook it 90% of the way through. If you end up cooking it all the way through, it's not the end of the world.
Well, it's deer. It's less fatty than beef. It will get...
Yeah. This is true. But, the flip side, you do want to make sure it's fully cooked.
Yeah, so it's going to boil for like 20 minutes. Well, actually only 10, since
Yeah.
we don't do the cream part.
So, minced garlic, or not minced, pickled garlic is great because it does not have nearly as intense of a flavor as fresh garlic. Also lasts pretty much indefinitely, and it's delicious. And if you do it right, you end up with something that's nearly spreadable, which is pretty cool. Okay, how much of these spices do I need? Tablespoon of oregano, fourth a teaspoon of red pepper flakes.
Okay, this is
That is fine. Add
just a
things.
little bit of thing.
So, tablespoon of oregano. Fourth a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I can do a heaping with this one stuff.
This is Aleppo,
Since
not
it's
red.
Aleppo, the garlic. Here, one moment. Okay.
And not all of the red wine.
Let's
I
see
want some
here.
for the finish of it.
Pour red wine into the skillet, and then add the tomatoes. So what is this? A cup and a fourth of red wine?
It wants you to save a fourth for the end.
There you go. Let that cook for a minute, and then we add in the tomatoes, which we also canned ourselves. Ah. They're significantly easier to open. Okay, that's nice and sealed still.
You don't want to pop that with a spoon or a knife.
Yes. Sounds like proper tomato to you.
Tomatoes to me. It already has basil in it. We might not want to add so much at the end.
Doesn't have the canned tomatoes have like a sprig of basil each. Okay. Tomatoes go in. So a thing of crushed and a thing of whole. Okay, now bring to a boil, lower the heat, and simmer 10 minutes.
You'll want to retrieve the basil.
Why? They can cook into there.
The recipe specifically adds the basil to the end
Just leave that basil in there. It'll cook itself.
because it becomes too strong a flavor if you leave it.
Okay, it's just a single piece of basil. So here, bump up the temperature for a moment. I will defer to you on that. Now, pasta water is almost boiling. Use that. I actually would like to use some of the basil that we did for ourselves. Okay. 10 minutes of boiling. Should I just cook the whole box if it fits?
Tired.
That's fair. I suppose I can mix arrowroot into the wine.
It's a liquid. It theoretically would work.
How much arrowroot did we do for this? It's been a little while.
Tablespoon, I think.
Sounds correct to me.
Just because the liquidiness of the tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like, wine's a thinner. Arrowroot's
Yeah.
a thickener. So I don't know what they'll do when you put them together, but, you know, it's also a liquid, so it should work.
One of those unstoppable force, immovable object situations.
Yeah.
Making some wine paste. That is. Mixing together fine.
Okay.
Yeah, just leave that there. That's looking nice.
Mm-hmm. Bolognese is easy,
Bolognese is easy.
and it gives you lots of leftovers.
Yeah, it's a great reason to make a big batch of it. You can also make it with all different types of meats. Pretty much anything,
That browns.
anything that browns will work just fine. The most expensive version of bolognese we've seen is Opa bolognese. Saw the recipe for that. That
That seems like a waste of opa.
it does a little bit, right?
Opa is a delicious fish.
Yeah, I feel like a bolognese is a bit overpowering for something that tasty.
Yeah.
That being said, I could totally see it working with tuna.
Yeah. It would definitely change the profile,
Mhm.
but it'd be pretty good.
We should try that at some point in the future.
We'd need more tomatoes since those were our last two cans.
No.
It's separating.
It's separating out. That actually separates surprisingly fast.
Well, you'll just stir it right
Yep,
before
I'll
you
stir
add
it right before I add it. Which is pretty much when the noodles are almost done. That gets added in.
Because we like thick sauce bolognese instead of thin.
I am going to steal a piece of meat. Mm.
Good?
Yeah.
Good.
That's good. Excellent, excellent meat. How many of those do we have left, by the way?
Dear?
Yeah. Couple? Two. Okay.
There's also 3 pounds of ground beef in the freezer downstairs.
Okay. Well. That's kind of fun to watch. I might make a meatloaf stream later.
Next week you can do a deer slash
A deer slash beef.
slash veggies.
Yep. Yeah. Meatloafs are a great way to hide vegetables.
For people who don't like vegetables.
Yes.
It'll be a sweet meatloaf because you've got beets as the main vegetable that needs using.
That's fine. I also have spicy peppers. So
Okay.
put a little bit of that in there.
Sweet and spicy.
Sweet and spicy is a traditional
Compliment.
compliment. That was fun to play with. So, anything else exciting food-wise to mention? Oh yes, how much nutmeg do we add at the end?
1/4 teaspoon. That's what it says. That seems like a bunch.
Not really. Of course, my 1/4 teaspoon is dirty in there.
Yeah.
That's okay. We have more than one? Question mark?
We have 2 eggs at the very least.
There's the 1/4 teaspoon. Nope, that's half. Means whole. That's a 1/4. There we go. I was just gonna put it in with the arrowroot stuff.
Suppose you can put basil in there too then.
Yep. Just a pinch of basil with the dried stuff.
A pinch of sweet basil.
Yep. Sweet basil that we dried ourselves.
That's plenty.
Okay. Drying your own herbs is fun. We have a basil plant that we've had alive for more than a year at this point. A year and a half, I believe.
Although we need to stake it up better, it keeps falling.
Yeah. We can definitely stake that better in the future. Can be a job for this week. Toes are getting cold in the air conditioning vents.
Cold toes, warm top.
Yeah. Weird experience. What's the saying? If you can't stand the heat differential, stay out of the kitchen.
No, but it's probably true.
Jesse is more of a fan of tomatoes than I am, so we leave our tomatoes mostly whole
So that he can pick around them.
so I can pick around them. Was this the Gatorade I was drinking earlier, by the way?
I think so.
Yeah, it's still good. Yep. And hello to the person that just said hello in the chat.
Hello, person.
We're just about done making pasta bolognese. And we actually do post these to YouTube as well on my Knife Gentleman page. Not enough water for the pasta is the question. So, what you want with the pasta, optimal, is basically having your pasta just barely covered with the water.
Once it's cooked.
Once it's cooked,
Which
yeah.
means you need at least a centimeter or two above it when it's first got poured in the pot.
Yes, since the pasta will absorb quite a bit of water.
Most pasta expands.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it, but most of it does.
A lot of the Asian pastas do not expand nearly as much as the European ones.
The wheat pastas definitely expand. The rice ones not so much.
We are making campanelli pasta? Is that what?
Yep.
Campanelli? Yep. I think I already threw in the recycling, the box.
Yep.
But it is a flower-shaped pasta.
Okay, stir it up, add it in. It needs a couple minutes to thicken.
Okay, so while I am finishing with the pasta cooking, I'm adding the arrowroot red wine, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of dried basil. I would have made space earlier. Think more things.
Or the colander.
For the colander. That's okay. I can fix this real quick. let me grab a fork and try one of the noodles. Yeah.
Make sure they're at least close to being done.
Yes. I'm pretty sure they're just about done.
Got a little bit all done there, but they're fine.
Okay, they're good for you?
Yeah, I can handle that.
Okay, call you're in the sink. Yeah, those will be fine. Especially since they will absorb a bit of the bolognese liquid.
Which looks to be thickening up quite nicely.
You'll want to stir that occasionally.
Yeah.
That was also for the stream. Okay. You will want to make sure to stir the liquid occasionally as it thickens.
Oh yeah, it sticks to my spoon so much better now.
Yeah, the tablespoon of arrowroot will do that.
Yeah.
Set that there right now.
You can see if that's...
If it's thick enough for you, I can add the noodles.
Okay.
You can leave the heat on for just a moment.
Yep.
And our skillet is just deep enough for this process. Turn off the heat on that. Got a delicious looking bolognese. Jesse, you can dish it out for us. I can show the stream. Someone asked in the stream if we do cheese. I have a milk allergy, so we do not do cheese or cream with the bolognese.
But usually it calls for it.
Usually it calls for Parmesan and cream. We use the arrowroot as a thickener instead of cream, and it works out rather well, as you can see. Very delicious food. So I will have to cool a little bit.
Yep.
Did you grab the
Very.
fork? Oh, you have.
I'll take that spoon.
Okay. Trade.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we appreciate everyone that joined us, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll, pardon me. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week, most likely.